Zhonghwan lives without a wife, but he has a beautiful daughter who gives his life meaning. Every day he pushes himself to stay positive because he has to raise his little girl on his own and make sure she has everything she needs. Right now, his daughter Sua is completely focused on practicing her dance. She is serious about it, concentrating hard, even though her dad keeps interrupting her. There is already a clear sign on the door telling him not to come in, but as a playful father, he still does. Their life is simple, nothing fancy, but the two of them are genuinely happy together. Today is a special day. It is Sua's birthday. Her dad does not forget it at all. He prepares a birthday cake just for her. Besides her father, Sua also has a grandmother who lives in a village. Sua calls her, asking about the present she promised. After that, she turns to her dad and reminds him about his present too. Zhonghwan tells her to check under the chair. She quickly looks, finds the gift, and her face lights up. It is exactly what she has been wishing for all this time, and for a moment, everything feels perfect. But that happiness does not last long. They notice their neighbors outside acting strangely. Curious, Sua starts recording them with her phone. Her father tells her to stop because he thinks it is just a heated argument. Then things suddenly turn horrifying. The neighbors begin attacking each other, biting and tearing at flesh, until they turn into hungry zombies. One of the zombies smashes through the window and forces its way into Zhonghwan's house.
Swear.
Panicked, Zhonghwan grabs Sua, and they both rush to hide, trying to stay as quiet as possible while chaos erupts outside. Soon, Sua learns from the news and messages that the same thing is happening in many other places. The outbreak is not just in their neighborhood. Realizing how dangerous the situation has become, Zhonghwan decides they cannot stay at home any longer. He tells Sua they have to leave. When they step outside, the scene is terrifying. Almost all the residents have turned into zombies. The friendly neighbors they used to greet every day are now attacking anything that moves. Zhonghwan and Sua have no idea where to go at first, but then Zhonghwan makes a plan. He decides they should head to his mother's village, the grandmother's hometown, because it is far from the crowds and might be safer. To get there, they have to pass through streets filled with zombies. Zhonghwan comes up with a crazy idea. He tells Sua they should pretend to be zombies, just like in the movies, so they can blend in and avoid getting attacked. Sua feels embarrassed and hesitant because the idea of acting like a zombie in front of real zombies feels ridiculous to her. But when the undead start getting closer, she has no choice. Surprisingly, the father and daughter turn out to be very good at acting. They move slowly, drag their feet, and imitate zombie behavior, trying to fool the horde around them. For a moment, it actually works. They manage to walk through the crowd without being noticed. Unfortunately, the zombies eventually sense that something is not right. Their strange behavior gets exposed and the undead quickly turn aggressive, rushing toward them. In the chaos, Sua falls to the ground and an old woman zombie goes straight for her. Just as the zombie is about to bite Sua, Zhonghwan thrusts his own arm into its mouth to protect his daughter. The zombie bites down hard, but it turns out her teeth are fake. The dentures come off and Zhonghwan escapes without getting infected. Once they manage to get away and things calm down a little, Zhonghwan tells Sua to hide in a safe spot. He will go alone to get the car. He runs off, dodging zombies, and finally manages to reach his vehicle. After starting the engine, he drives back as fast as he can to pick up his daughter. He finds her, gets her into the car, and together they escape the city of Seoul. For a brief moment, it feels like they have survived the worst. However, that relief quickly disappears when Zhonghwan notices how pale Sua looks. Something is wrong. He soon discovers a bite mark on her from a young boy who had attacked her earlier. The wound looks small, but the virus moves fast. The veins in her arm start bulging, and her body begins to change in frightening ways. Right in front of her father's eyes, Sua starts to transform into a zombie. And then she suddenly turns on him, attacking the very person who has been fighting so hard to protect her. In that moment, everything became real. This is my daughter as a zombie. Not long after the escape, Sua's grandmother returns home and immediately notices Zhonghwan's car in the yard. She senses something is wrong. When she steps inside, the house is a mess, and Sua suddenly lunges toward her. Shocked but quick to react, the grandmother fights back and knocks her unconscious. At first, she has no idea her granddaughter has turned into a zombie. When the truth finally sinks in, she breaks down in tears, overwhelmed with fear and heartbreak. That same day, the news confirms the worst. The virus has spread uncontrollably, and the government forms a special task force to eliminate infected individuals. The next morning, Zhonghuan takes Su-ah to the hospital, hoping someone can help. But the situation there is even worse. Other infected patients are already restrained, and without hesitation, the military opens fire on them. There is no treatment, no chance at saving them. Realizing the danger, Zhonghuan grabs his daughter and escapes as fast as he can. Meanwhile, the grandmother discusses Su-ah's fate over the phone, wondering if there is still hope. Then another government announcement appears, warning citizens to report any new infection. That night, Zhonghuan reaches a breaking point. Feeling desperate, he begins digging a grave in the yard. In his mind, ending his daughter's suffering with his own hands seems more humane than watching soldiers shoot her on sight. But when he lifts the shovel to finish the job, memories of her childhood flash through his mind. The laughter, the dances, the moments they shared. His heart gives out before his strength does. He cannot do it. As the family argues about what to do next, they fail to notice the rope holding Su-ah loosening. She breaks free and runs off into the night. Panic erupts as they search the entire village for her. Finally, Zhonghuan remembers an old storage shed where she used to play when she was young. They rush there, and he finds her inside. Seeing her in that familiar place fills him with hope. He believes she is not fully gone, and that some part of her is still human. To test it, he plays music. Instantly, Su-ah begins to move and dance, following the rhythm. That simple reaction tells him everything. She remembers. Later that night, Zhonghuan shows his mother a video from an Indian scientist explaining that infected people who still have memories may not be fully transformed. Their memories can weaken the virus, which means they might still be saved. The grandmother decides to test this herself. She prepares Su-ah's favorite meal and offers it to her. If Su-ah eats it, it means she remembers her old self. If she refuses, she may be completely lost. Su-ah rejects the food, leaving the grandmother devastated, convinced her granddaughter is gone forever. But then Su-ah grabs a container of pork intestines and eats it happily, just like she always used to. Suddenly, the front door opens and Zhonghuan's best friend, Dongbei, walks in. He came all the way from Seoul, relieved to find his friend alive. But the moment he sees Su-ah, his relief turns into shock. Realizing what she has become, Dongbei prepares to leave so he can report the situation. Zhonghuan steps in to stop him, desperate to protect his daughter. The grandmother tries to calm the situation and jokes that Su-ah takes after her because she loves intestines. Zhonghuan later visits Dongbei at his medical training facility. He shows him proof that Su-ah still has memories. She can respond to music and even dance to it. Zhonghuan begs him to help train her mind, hoping those memories can grow stronger and pull her back. At first, Dongbei refuses. He gets frustrated and tells Zhonghuan that if he does not want to be reported to the authorities, he should leave the village immediately. Meanwhile, at home, the grandmother continues caring for Su-ah with patience and love. She washes her, dresses her, and treats her as if nothing has changed. After the bath, Su-ah falls asleep peacefully, and for a short moment, the house feels normal again. Later, Zhonghuan returns home and tells his mother what Dongbei said. He knows they cannot run forever, and the weight of the situation begins to settle in. The next morning, everything changes. Dongbei's car is parked in front of their gate. Zhonghuan immediately assumes he is being watched or forced out. But instead, Dongbei has a different plan. He has found information about a potential cure being developed in the United States. If the medicine receives approval, there is a real chance Su-ah can be saved. With renewed hope, Zhonghuan and Dongbei begin training Su-ah together. They start with the basics, things like handshakes and simple gestures. But Su-ah reacts instinctively, biting instead of shaking hands. Dongbei panics, convinced she will attack him. Zhonghuan warns him not to turn his back on her, but it is already too late. Su-ah chases him around as he tries to move backward, terrified. At home, the training continues. Zhonghuan teaches her how to blink again and feels proud when she listens, even if only for a moment. The grandmother, however, reminds him that blinking can also be a sign she's about to attack. And she is right. Su-ah almost bites him before he quickly blows a whistle to stop her. For a second, he thinks the whistle works as a command. But the truth is much funnier. Su-ah only freezes because she is scared of her grandmother holding a back scratcher like a weapon. The next day, they move on to gentle exercise and simple movements. To everyone's surprise, Su-ah manages to follow along, even if imperfectly. During this process, Zhonghuan documents every small achievement, including the fact that Su-ah becomes much calmer when she has eaten enough. Over time, she begins forming sounds and slowly attempts to speak.
안 돼, 수아야.
Eventually, she manages to say one simple word that means everything to him. She calls him father. Noticing how pale she looks, the grandmother insists that Zhonghuan buy makeup. She cannot stand seeing her granddaughter's face covered in dark veins. At the store, something unexpected happens. Zhonghuan bumps into someone from his past. It is Yonhua, his first love, who still has not married. They talk for a while, and when she learns he has a child, she is shocked. Curious and excited, she tells him she wants to meet his daughter and even play with his cat. Hearing that, Zhonghuan panics inside. He quickly makes an excuse to leave, pretending he needs more exercise, and walks away before she can follow. That night, Zhonghuan and Dongbai are relaxing at a small food stall, trying to unwind for a moment. Out of nowhere, Yonhua arrives and joins them. She explains that Dongbai already told her everything about Zhonghuan's situation. She thinks his daughter has a severe brain condition that prevents her from going to school, and she believes he is divorced. Zhonghuan is shocked that Dongbai made up such a story, but he also understands the purpose behind it. It was the only way to protect Sua and keep the truth hidden. Since Yonhua works as a teacher, she suggests enrolling Sua in her school to help her learn and socialize. Zhonghuan politely turns down the offer, knowing it is far too risky. As their conversation continues, Yonhua reveals something personal. She admits that she hates zombies more than anything. In the past, her fiancé turned into one. To survive, she had no choice but to fight him. The trauma from that moment changed her, and she began hunting zombies and reporting them to authorities. Later that night, back at home, Zhonghuan searches her name online. He scrolls through her photos, and what he sees is intense. There she is holding a sword, posing with awards for reporting the highest number of zombies. The more he scrolls, the more terrified he becomes. Sometime after, he returns home to pick up some of Sua's belongings. While looking through her photos, he imagines her standing beside him, speaking normally. But it is only a painful hallucination.
동작인데? 하나, 둘.
Still grieving, he remembers something important. Sua had always been excited about a cosplay festival at her favorite amusement park, so he decides to make that happen. He goes to find Dongbai and asks him to help bring Sua there. When he returns home, he gets another surprise. Yonhua is already inside, eating and chatting with his mother like a close family friend. He panics and demands to know why his mother let her in. His mother explains she could not refuse and thought everything would be fine since Sua was asleep. Right then, Sua appears. Zhonghuan reacts quickly, rushing to hide her before Yonhua sees anything suspicious. Hearing movement upstairs, Yonhua becomes curious and asks what illness Sua is suffering from. Instead of giving a real answer, Zhonghuan pushes her away emotionally and tells her to never come back. Confused and hurt, she leaves the house. The next morning, the family prepares for the trip to the amusement park. The grandmother carefully applies makeup to Sua's face, trying her best to hide the signs of infection. At first, Dongbei refused to go, but eventually he shows up fully committed. He arrives dramatically, dressed like a hero, ready to protect Sua. At the amusement park, Zhonghuan and Dongbei walk hand in hand with Sua, letting her enjoy the rides, the lights, and the cheerful atmosphere. For a moment, everything feels almost normal. After some time, Zhonghuan gently tries to trigger her memories. He reminds her that she visited this place before and ate her favorite snack with him, but nothing seems to connect. It looks like the memory is still locked away. Then out of nowhere, good news finally arrives. Dongbei gets word that the antiviral cure is close to approval. Hearing this fills them with hope. Maybe, just maybe, Sua can still be saved. In the middle of their excitement, they suddenly realize something. Sua is gone. She has wandered off on her own. Eventually, she spots an old photo of herself eating churros, and something triggers inside her. The memory returns just enough to push her toward a snack stall. But instead of reminiscing, she causes chaos by stealing food. Hearing the commotion, Zhonghuan rushes over and pulls her into his arms. He apologizes for being distracted by the news instead of focusing on her. Then something incredible happens. For the first time, Sua clearly speaks a word. Churro. When they return home, the grandmother is shocked. Yonhua is waiting for them, and she now knows everything. After putting the pieces together, she confronts the truth. Sua is a zombie and should be reported. Just when the situation seems ready to explode, the grandmother steps in and reveals the full story. She explains that Sua is not Zhonghuan's biological daughter. She belonged to his older sister. Her real father was irresponsible, wasted all the family's savings, and caused constant hardship. When Zhonghwan's sister died in a tragic accident, the child was left behind. Her biological father took the insurance money and disappeared. It was Zhonghwan who stepped in, took responsibility, and raised Su'a as his own. The memories of that painful day still haunt him, especially the regret of celebrating his own birthday while leaving his niece alone. Guilt became love, and love became fatherhood. Hearing this, Yeonhwa feels sympathy, but she still cannot forget what Su'a has become. Later, once things settle, the grandmother shares another problem. The village school is running out of students, and the head of the village wants Su'a enrolled. If she does not go, people will start asking questions. Zhonghwan refuses immediately, afraid the school will expose her condition. But Yeonhwa challenges him. She believes that if Su'a truly is different from other zombies, then this is the chance to prove it. She promises not to report anything if Su'a manages to fit in. With fear and hesitation, the family agrees, and Su'a goes to school. The grandmother carefully does her makeup to help her look human. Inside the classroom, Yeonhwa introduces her and explains she does not talk much because of an accident. Since she comes from Seoul, the students start calling her Soul. Some of them tease her by messing with her bangs. But then things get strange. Her eyes suddenly roll upward, shocking everyone around her. The awkward moments continue during gym class. While playing basketball, Yeonhwa passes the ball to her, but it hits her face, causing her head to tilt unnaturally. Feeling guilty, Yeonhwa brings her an apple and explains it is a gift from the other students. They wave at Su'a, showing they mean no harm. To everyone's surprise, Su'a slowly raises her hand and waves back. For the first time, Yeonhwa sees not a monster, but a child trying her best to belong. That night, Zhonghwan and Yeonhwa sit down for dinner together. The tension from before has softened, and the two finally talk openly. Yeonhwa admits she misjudged everything and realizes how devoted he is to Su'a. Zhonghwan explains that his only wish is simple. He just wants Su'a to live a normal life. But the calm moment does not last long. As soon as Yeonhwa takes a sip of alcohol, she quickly gets tipsy, leaving Zhonghwan both amused and unsure of what to do next. Meanwhile, the grandmother stays home playing cards with Su'a, enjoying a rare peaceful evening. Suddenly, someone knocks at the gate. When she opens it, she finds a man she hoped would never return. It is Johnny, Su'a's biological father. Johnny shows her a recording from the amusement park. In the video, Su'a bumps into someone, falls, and behaves strangely. The footage has gone viral, and now the government believes Su'a may be the only surviving zombie. They issue a reward for anyone who finds her. Johnny coldly claims he is willing to split the money with the grandmother. She is furious and refuses to let him near the child. At the same time, Zhonghwan receives the news over the phone and rushes home. On the way, he spots Johnny's car and chases after it. When he reaches it, he finds Su'a tied up inside. Seeing his daughter restrained like an animal triggers his anger, and a fight breaks out. In the chaos, Su'a reacts on instinct. She attacks Johnny and bites him. The infection spreads quickly, and Johnny turns into a zombie. Zhonghwan has no choice but to stop him before he hurts anyone else. When everything is finally over, they return home. The grandmother is relieved to see Su'a safe, but now things are different. The entire government knows the truth, and there is no time left. Zhonghwan decides they need to leave the village before the authorities arrive. The grandmother refuses to stay behind and insists on going with them. The next morning, they prepare for their escape. Before leaving, Zhonghwan writes letters for Yeonhwa and Dongbai. He asks his mother to deliver them, while he waits at home with Su'a. On the way to see Dongbai, the grandmother spots military troops nearby. Her heart sinks. She fears they are headed straight to her home to capture Su'a. Feeling uneasy, she opens the letter early. Inside, she finds the truth. Zhonghwan planned to leave without her, hoping to protect her from the danger. Realizing what is happening, she rushes back as fast as she can, but she is too late. The military has already arrived at Zhonghwan's hiding place. Inside the old shed, Zhonghwan gets ready to escape with Su'a. The plan is simple: leave quietly before anyone finds them. But when he opens the door, everything collapses. Military forces have already surrounded the building. There is no path left, nowhere to run. What he does not know is that his mother, terrified and pressured, revealed their location to protect the rest of the family. Realizing there is no escape, Zhonghwan makes one last attempt. He pleads with the soldiers to spare Su'a. He is willing to surrender if they promise not to harm her, but the answer never comes. Instead, the soldiers force their way in. With no time left, Zhonghuan rushes back to his daughter and holds her tightly, shielding her with his body. Then gunfire erupts. The bullets hit him, and he collapses while still holding her. That moment breaks something inside Sua. The shock, the fear, and the pain pull her humanity back to the surface. For the first time since her infection, she calls out to her father like a normal child. Not as a zombie, but as the daughter he fought so hard to save. Time passes. The antiviral cure finally receives approval, and Su Ah becomes the first patient to recover. When she wakes, she greets her grandmother and immediately asks for her father. She learns he survived the gunfire but remains in a coma. Doctors explain that he was kept alive for a reason. Throughout his journey protecting Su Ah, he had been scratched and bitten multiple times, yet he never turned. His body naturally developed antibodies strong enough to fight the virus. His blood becomes the foundation for a future vaccine. The grandmother then hands Su Ah her father's journal. Inside are pages filled with memories, fears, hope, and one promise repeated again and again. He would keep fighting until his daughter was cured. Reading it overwhelms her with gratitude and guilt, and she breaks down in tears. Eventually, spring arrives. Life begins to look normal again. Su Ah now lives peacefully with her grandmother near the countryside. She practices dancing again and even enters a competition. Yonhua records her performance and takes it to the hospital, playing it beside Zhonghuan's bed. As she watches the video, she tells him that his daughter is healthy, alive, and dancing proudly. In that quiet room, something finally happens. One of his fingers moves, a small sign, but enough to show that his fight is not over. And with that final glimmer of hope, the story reaches its end. So the moral of the story is, if you ever need to survive zombies, just pretend to be one, carry dentures, and make sure your grandma has a back scratcher, because apparently that solves everything.